here.
Awesome.
My God.
Welcome to Morning Thought Reflections. Um, I'm honored to be joined by Ulebu, Kilebogile Lebu Ramokgopa, a wonderful friend, very short, and as they say, dynamic dynamites come in small packages, and she is a package. And the purpose of our reflection today is based on a morning thought that she shared. So what I did is I invited, friends who've been receiving the morning thoughts to share their ideas or their thoughts, which I will then share with others. I then did that over a period of a week, and it's still continuing even now as we are on the today, 6th of October. And
Yes.
and this one was so powerful, and I'll read it to you. The title is Time to Let Go. There comes a time when we must let shed and let go of old energies, possession, people, thoughts, and old actions and habits that have run their course and served their purpose. When we let go, we create space for better to enter our lives. For us to also grow and experience, we need to step out of our comfort zone, which is part of shedding. This shedding process serves as an act of self love and self care, which are critical to one's transcendence, elevation, and alignment. It's an act of self respect and an honor to yourself. When we hold when we hold on to the clutter that weighs us down, we block opportunities for new positive energies and beautiful manifestations to transcend into our lives. Believing and knowing that all the roads that lie ahead of us are filled with peace and joy, not turning a blind eye to the challenges that will also form part of the journey, should make it easy for us to let go and trust the process. If it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't bring you peace, prosperity, and joy, then it's time to let go. Respect yourself enough to let go, knowing that you deserve the very best. And this morning thought had so much feedback. It was beautiful. I just felt, you know what, we just have to start with this one. So maybe my first question to you is what inspired the morning thought?
Okay, so what inspired this morning thought is the journey that I've been on of letting go and shedding, and also introspection and reflecting on life events as well that have been happening, because there's a lot that's been happening in my space, right?
Mm,
Um, on the 10th of September, I got into a car accident, right? And I got into a
mm,
car accident with my daughter in the morning. After time of hecticness and everything, we're fetching her birthday cake, so I got into a car accident. And I remember I sat in the car at some point and I asked myself, "Hore, but what is it that has happened, and why has it happened? What am I holding on to?" Like, when all sorts of thoughts come in and they're
yeah,
playing in your mind, and you're just like, "Go diragala eng?" you know
yeah,
and then through conversations, after the fact, after the accident, because the accident happened on the driver's side, I was like, no, there's something that needs to change, because you cannot be going through a spell of bad incidents and everything. Something needs to change. And after that, through a conversation with a friend said to me, "You know what, maybe it's time to just let go and shed." And I started
mm,
September off on the tip, ya gore I want change in my life. I want change in my house. I want change in how I do things. I want change in the people that are around me, because I feel like holding on is also weighing me down. And then the accident happened. So you see all these, epiphanies and everything, and these weird things happening, but they came at the right time, because September, we often see it as a time of rebirth, renewal,
Yeah.
restoration. It's a new season, freshness. But then you cannot go into freshness, into renewal, into restoration, into rebirth while you're carrying old energies.
True.
So then through that journey, of just reflecting, introspecting, I decided, this is what I need to let go of. I need to let go of old energies that came from a journey that I was on a couple of years ago, which I'm still carrying. I need to let go of old thoughts and beliefs. I need to let go of people that I also feel like they're no longer in alignment with where I'm going. You know, um, and this has been a process. Yeah, just unpacking, reflecting, introspecting, and in ourselves, because a lot of the time we look at the external, but we don't look at the internal. What is
Yeah.
it within me that is holding me back? What is it within me that is limiting me? My own thoughts about certain things in my life, my own way of doing life. I need to change that. And that has been the process throughout the whole of September. A very hectic month, but not a month of renewal, but for me, September has been a month of letting go, has
Wow.
been a very powerful month of letting go. And when I wrote that thought, it was from the introspection and the reflection of the journey that I've been on. And I won't lie to you, through letting go, there's been a lot of positivity and the rebirth process started. And
Wow.
that's exactly what inspired that thought.
You know what's amazing for me is
Mhm.
right smack in the middle of an accident where it hits the driver's side. You don't think of, I could have died. Oh my word, this and that. But you start thinking of, what is it that I'm holding on to that I need to let go? It takes a special mindset to be in that frame of mind, in that in that chaotic moment, to just simply be in a reflective moment. Other people would be hysterical, would be angry, would be crying, and doing all sorts of things other than thinking, what is it that I need to let go? And maybe what I want to, before we even tackle your the rest of the thought, how much work had you done or are you doing on yourself for you to get to that level of thinking, to that level where in the midst of the storm, here you are thinking, what is it that I need to let go? It takes a special mindset, I must say.
Thank you for that question. So, there's a lot of work that I've been putting in.
Lebu, are you still there? I seem to have lost you. I'm not sure what's going on. The network on your side. Okay. We seem to have lost Ulebu. We'll just get her to reconnect. And once she reconnects, she'll basically pick up on the story. And yeah, what
Sorry,
still, yeah, I assume then it's network issues.
yeah, there was a network issue.
Okay.
So I've connected now.
All right. Yeah.
So
No, you can continue. When you were you were just saying how much work you had done on yourself.
So yes, so there's been work that I've been doing on myself. I've been investing so much in the sense of, the journey of self transcendence,
Mm,
authenticity, authenticating oneself, and shedding, you know, um, and learning as well, and
yeah,
learning because we have to unlearn. We are so fixated on and how to socialize, but we don't realize the importance of being adaptable, and adaptability comes with a lot of willingness to unlearn. You know,
mm,
so I'm doing a lot of work, and the work also stems from some of my life journey. I was once married. I'm a mom. I've got a job. I'm trying all different things. So I'm failed business venture. So there's been a lot that has been going on in my spirit, but I've
yeah,
taken it upon myself as a form of self love. Number one, introspection, self respect, and honoring the journey that I had to just say, you know what, go to work.
mm,
And I have to do the work, and no one is going to do the work. You can go for therapy, you can go for whatever interventions, but if you as the person are not ready for all
yeah,
the tools that are given to you, for all the unpacking that's going to happen, it's pointless. You get me? It's really
yeah, that's
pointless.
true.
So I had to really authenticate it within myself to say, "Gore ke lebogile." um, this is you, this is who you are, and with who you are comes a lot of chapters, a lot of things. But what are you willing to do in order to improve yourself, in order to better your life? And that is the work that has gone into that. Very vulnerable with myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm too hard on myself because I want certain things and I strive for certain things, milestones in my life. But there's a lot that I need. But having those vulnerable conversations with yourself is not something that everyone can do. And I that to say, "Well, I'm not being hard on myself. I know I can be hard on myself, but I am going to do the work that I need to do or to help manifest to the person that I want." And when the accident happened, that just affirmed to me, it is what it is. You are on a journey. You ask yourself, but why today? Why
Yes,
you know, like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Because I can tell you, and people see a very pretty picture. They see a beautiful face. Motolo is always busy but they don't know the show that's happening close door.
yeah,
You know, they don't know. And with that show that is happening behind closed doors, one thing that always affirmed to me was that the show has to go on.
yeah,
Whether you're work in progress, because we are all work in progress, the show has to go on against all. And that is what contributed a lot to this journey of saying, "Okay, I'm going to work on myself, improve myself, and I'm going to better myself. I'm not going to, I can seek external assistance, but if myself, I'm not ready for that, all of that is irrelevant because you as person has to be ready to do the work. And that's the point that I'm at in my life right now.
yeah. You've done a lot of work. I can tell, especially when you have the vulnerable conversations with yourself. Um, you tend to reap the rewards. The conversations are not nice. They're very uncomfortable, and at
Mm,
times they're very painful, um, because you become your worst critic, and it's almost like you go overboard. You are almost less forgiving of yourself than if you were having the conversation with someone else. And I understand that. And I suppose that's one way that we get to grow. But I
mm,
want us to now come back to, there's this part that I love here. Um, for us to also grow and experience, we need to step out of our comfort zone. and comfort zone is an enemy for a lot of us,
Mm.
which is part of shedding. This shedding process serves as an act of self-love and self-care, which are critical to one's transcendence, elevation, and alignment. Self-love, self-care. Not all of us get to do that. Not all of us appreciate the need, if I may put it that way, the need for self love and self care, especially because also October is branded as the month of mental health and mental well being.
Mm.
How would you say, what would you say around that, self love and self, let me see, self love and self care, as well as self respect?
Okay, so with self love, the thing is, I think a lot of people, and I want to go back to realization and how we raised and how we do things. We have not been taught to be self aware. You know,
Yeah.
our self awareness for us comes in when you've done wrong. Like,
Oh,
as a
yes.
child, get reprimanded, and then you wanna but you become, they make you aware of who you are when you've done something wrong, or maybe if opacity stuff. But a lot of the time it was always, you know, um instilled in us when you've done something wrong. But self-awareness, what I call now, um self-awareness comes with with the importance of being aware of self, whether you're right or wrong. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Not when you've done something wrong, right? Because again, when you've done something wrong, they reprimand you so that you can correct yourself, and you must
Yes.
be. We always see as parents, for a when we tell children, think about what you did, né?
Yeah.
we we want them to become aware of the action of wrongdoing that they committed, but we never use the same energy when they've done something, because when they've done something good on, not about them, you know.
Yeah.
So self-awareness is a bit, it's a bit of a tedious process for us, as I want to say, Black parents. So with self-awareness, I had to become very aware of self, because I do a lot of good and a lot of bad. I know myself. I'm not always right, and I'm always wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line, and you know your. So with self-awareness, then comes acceptance, which is
Hmm.
something that I won't ever talk about. Because how do you accept the fact that Uzi is like this, or Ukile is like this today? Or Ukile like this. I had to accept myself as a very free spirited, hardworking, smart, single mom and everything. I had to accept that and make the most of it. But that came from being aware of self, right? And from that self acceptance, which came from self awareness, then comes self love, where I'm like, I will love the woman as she is. I will
Yeah.
embrace her flaws and all, milestones and all, the gifts of imperfection. I will love her as she is, because this is who she is. I'm not pretending for anyone. I'm not trying to gain any validation from anyone. If you like me, you like me. But if you don't, it's okay, because we align with different people for different purposes and different intentions, right? And there's a season for everyone. But all of that comes from a space of self, me accepting self. Because if I don't accept me as I am, as she is, how then do I accept the world to accept me?
Yeah.
Because the
True.
world also is of how we present ourselves, you know. So that is where the root of self love for me comes from: self awareness, self acceptance, and then you love self and start treating self the way self did. You know, I cannot ask anyone to do anything for me that I not even do for myself. Anything
Mm.
outside I can do for me, if anyone has to bring anything to me, it's an added benefit. But that comes from the self-awareness and self-acceptance and learning to love self. And that's where self-care also comes, because with the love comes a lot of care. Love is
Yes.
not harsh. Love
Yes.
is not supposed to break. Love is supposed to be a care thing. So if I cannot care for myself, how then do I expect anyone else to care for me? If I have not accepted for myself for who I am, how do I expect anyone else to care for me in that aspect? If I have not become self-aware, how do I expect someone to be aware of me and care for me if I have not done the work? And this is the space in the self-love and self-care comes from. And it also stems from allowing yourself to be vulnerable with self.
Yes. Yeah. Um, you know, I love the concepts that you are sharing also, mainly because in order for us, most people make the mistake of saying, I'm going to go into a relationship so that I can find somebody who can love me for me. Um, I want somebody who's going to accept me for who I am, and it's all about the other person doing this for them when they have not necessarily done that. So they get to a point where the other person in the relationship that they're in makes a mistake, and it's hard for them to forgive that person, and mainly because they don't know how to forgive themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The other person then comes back again, and they, they you are not in a position to take care of them because you don't know how to take care of even yourself.
Yes.
So all of the things that you're portraying outward are the things that you failed to do for yourself. And I think we underestimate self-love, self-acceptance, and self-care, and even self-forgiveness.
Mm, mm,
Mm.
mm. No, we do that. We do that. And I don't take away from our role in terms of accountability and understanding, what we need to do to heal our. One thing that I will always pin it back to is how we have been socialized as human beings, because we are always giving, uh, being reprimanded for not doing it. But at some point in your life, you need to take yourself, because I always say I cannot expect people to do things for me if I myself even cater to those basic needs. You know, if I
Yeah.
cannot forgive myself, if I talk negatively upon myself, hooray, oh, you are like this. If I have to say to myself, you're stupid, somebody else, if they say it, then they only reflecting what I'm saying to myself. So how we treat ourselves is very important. And I just want to quickly just differentiate something, because I know, there's a high level of awareness around, narcissistic behavior, right?
Oh yes.
Yes. I want to just differentiate something. There is something that is called accepting who you are for who you are, and not, being overly egotistical or self-absorbed. You know,
Okay.
when you expect other people to now dance to your music.
Oh.
Self, yes, self-awareness, self-love, self-care, and self-acceptance. It's your own work that you're doing, and anyone else that feeds from it will feed from it. But narcissistic behavior, and that comes from where I'm healing myself so that you must all dance to my music, and where people must just glorify you and everything, because you are operating from a space of a negative ego or a
Oh.
toxic. So there's a huge difference, and I know that a lot of people are very scared to embark on the journey because they don't want to be as narcissistic or self-absorbed in anything. But we don't embark on the journey to impose on other people, right? We embark on the journey so that we can be better people, and being better people has a huge positive impact on the society at large, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is important, that we don't embark on a journey to impose on others.
Yes.
It's a powerful statement. I love it, and it also is a big differentiator between being narcissistic and just working on yourself and dancing and having others dance to your tune. And I think what also becomes important is when we work on ourselves and we practice self-love, we become more gracious with others. We are kind of, we are kinder
Ye-
to others, because we understand that we all have to go through a journey.
Mm,
And I think
mm,
one thing when we were talking about your your morning thought was how you are now in a position of authority to speak about letting go, because you've been there. So once you've done the self-love, you've done self-accountability, you've done self-awareness, it is relatively easier for you to also then extend even more grace to others around those areas.
mm. No, that is very,
um yeah.
that is
I
very,
just,
very.
I just want to see. There's another part that I really loved in this message, and I think it was about process. You know, I'm just looking for it now. Oh, there we go. Believing and knowing that all the roads that lie ahead of us are filled with peace and joy, not turning a blind eye to the challenges that will also form part of the journey, should make it easy for us to let go and trust the process. And trusting the process has has been one of my, what can I say, favorite mantras,
Mm,
because we don't want to trust the process.
mm,
We are reluctant to go into this process and say, I'm in this. I don't know what it's going to do with or for me or to me, but whichever way this is going, hey, I'm going with it.
mm,
Um, what may, I know that in the end, it's all going to work together for my good, and therefore I'm going to trust the process. Whether it hurts me, whether it builds me, whether it crushes me, I I'm okay with it, because in the end there is a benefit. Whether I have to let go of someone whom I've loved, someone whom I've admired, it's okay, because at the end of this all, there is a new me, a new life,
yeah.
and a new process that comes out of it. I can't just go into this and not finish it. It reminds me of, there's a there's a friend I once had. So
Mm,
what happened was, she went into, I think it was Bible school, and when she started learning certain concepts, she started questioning a lot of things around the faith, the religion, and the questions got her to stop going through the lessons and not finish. But what I realized is there was more damage after going in and not finishing the process than
mm,
if she would have gone through the entire process. And that was a
yeah.
lesson for me, that sometimes you just need to go through the process, however uncomfortable it may be, however painful it may be, go through it.
You know, you are so right, ne? Because we always focus on the end result, ne? We always focus on
Mm,
the end result, and coming successful, coming out and being embraced for whatever it is that we went through, whereas no one knows what it is that is making you step out like this and look successful or look, you know, accomplished. So I learned the whole trust the process concept through one of the qualifications that I did, where they were like, the result will be there. It will definitely be there. It's either you pass or you fail. Even if they don't even call it pass or fail, they call it competent or incompetent. And if
Okay.
you're not yet competent, we will make sure that you become competent, right? But what's more important for us is the journey, right? The journey that you are on in order to gain that competence, you know.
Mm.
And it's the same thing with life as well. We are always in the process. You are working towards a promotion at work. There's certain things that you have to do. But what are you learning through that whole process of getting to that end goal? And we tend to underestimate that process because that is the process that builds us,
Yes.
towards that end goal. And we always want instant gratification. Yeah, no, I'm going to be this. I visualize myself as, let's say, the senior marketing manager of this huge corporate. But getting there, that's a destination, but there's a process that takes place, right? What
Yes.
am I learning in that process? Because the lessons that I'm learning from that process are the ones that are going to help me deliver once I reach the destination, and even life post the destination, because there's
Mm.
also life after that.
Yes.
So trusting the process for me is is a very important mantra. I live by that mantra. Hore, you know, if I'm meant to go through crap today, I'm meant to
Yes.
go through crap because I'm meant to learn a lesson from that. I'm meant to be grounded. I'm meant to see another perspective. And it's part of the process that is building me towards a person that I am becoming. Because I will never ever sit in life and feel like I am enough. I'm in a process, you know. And in that process,
Mm.
I've got people around me as well that are part of the process that I'm learning different things from. So we need to trust the process, because half the time we want the gratification, we want the instant results, but we never learn anything from the journeys and the process. How
Yes.
nahana how gold is made, how nahana how diamonds are made. They go through a lot of transitions, a lot of making, breaking, reshaping, and they're all things good and bad. But how do they come out eventually? They come out beautiful. And even in
And
that
more
beauty,
expensive.
and more expensive, and very exclusive as well,
Yes. Mm.
because it's almost like data,
Yeah.
and that's why they're so glorified. But for them to get to that point, what happened? They had to
Eh?
go through the fire.
Yeah. And
They had to,
and the fire is never nice. Eh?
the fire is never nice. Think about, I always talk about metamorphosis, the
Yeah.
process of the butterfly and everything. Ne? And I was fortunate last year to go to a butterfly sanctuary where they took us through the process of how caterpillars and moths and butterfly evolve, because there's a whole process that takes place, and the different types, and some that differ fella at the cocoon stage, some that manage to evolve beyond the cocoon stage, some that you don't know whether you're getting a butterfly or a moth, right?
Mm.
Even though you know the different cultivars, but the end result, because when you look at the butterfly, what do we think? Funke fela, beauty
Yes.
against all odds. But you don't know what was going on in that cocoon.
Yeah.
You do not know what was going on in that cocoon for that period of time, you know. And that is something that reinforced the trust the process mantra that I live by. When you think about 9 months, when a woman is pregnant, that 9 months, you don't know how the child is going to come out. You can go for the scans, you can go for everything, but you live in hope ya gore ngwana o tlo tswa a le sharpo, kore whatever gift that I get bed with on that day when that child is born is what I will embrace and everything. And that process, we tend to doubt it, we tend to. So, what I'm just saying is that when we trust the process, we need to really be present in the process, be willing to take the good and the bad that come with that process, because
Yes.
that is what builds us. The end result is just the result, but the process is more meaningful compared to the end result, because through the process we gain so many lessons, we gain so much wisdom, and also we gain people that are walking the process and the journey with us. Balogore will correct us, some will deceive us, some will whatever, but we gain something out of that whole process. By the time you come out of the process, you are a more richer human being than the end result.
Yes. True. Very, very, very true. Um, but it does come with its pain, and we are often afraid of the pain of the process.
That's the thing.
Um, yeah, we really like, this thing is painful. I want
Yeah,
none of it. Um,
none of it. Yeah.
yeah, and sadly, in the context of this conversation, when we don't want to let go, we don't get to a point where we're able to, there's this program that's on one of the streaming platforms, right?
Mm,
Where they talk about decluttering your life, and making space. But this lady says, when you hold something, does it bring you joy? Does it bring you memories that are good, or does it just bring you negative energies? And
mm,
if it brings you joyful energy, then you can keep it. But if it
mm,
doesn't, then let it go. But we want to hold on to both the good and the bad energies. And as most people, for most people, what often happens is, even though we may have a lot of the good energies, the small bad energies that surround us, they tend to overwhelm the good energies, and we then focus only on the bad energies or on the
mm.
negative energies, and then we just project our lives as that.
Very
And
true.
so one thing that you also wrote is that when we don't want to let go, we block our opportunities for new positive energies. And I found that very profound, that we tend to blame life as being unfair.
Mm.
We tend to blame life as being all of these things, and yet we forget that we have some level of control, some level
Yeah,
of contribution towards every outcome, right?
yeah,
We can choose how we respond to it. We can choose what we do with it. Similar to forgiveness. I like this example of a couple living together,
mm,
and they are angry. Maybe, let's say, oftentimes when the woman is angry, and she's not talking to him, um, and you find that somebody comes into their space as a visitor.
mm,
This person has to put up a front that
yeah.
I'm okay, Hey, they go chatting, 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 chatting. And as soon as they turn to the partner, they change because they have to
True.
remember, hey, I'm angry at you. Or they can act as if they are okay. And then once the person goes, and no matter how good the conversation may be, no matter how exciting it may have been, and you're still riding on the wave of the excitement, but as soon as the person gets out of the room, you now have to, you almost kind of, wow, isn't that good what happened to this person? But before you even do that, you remind yourself, God, I'm angry at you. Now I must change. And it's so much administration, Jay, just to do that for yourself and to
Mm.
yourself. It's almost like you're not being authentic.
But that's another thing, authenticity, because we we go through different emotions. Like I can have a fight with my daughter. I'll give you an example. We were at a birthday party yesterday. She had annoyed me on our way there. Né?
Mm,
But I decided that I'm not going to project my anger to her and other people around her, or around other people, if you get me.
yeah.
So I decided, you know what, I'm parking this for now, and I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that mom. I'm going to take care of her. I'm not going to snap her. I'm not going to, you know, be that negative person around her. It's difficult to get to that point. Trust me. Yo, it's difficult, but you make that
Mhm.
conscious decision. Mm-mm, not in the space, because again, we're good at pretending. We are very good
Yes.
at pretending, and with pretense, then we falter. We
Mm,
falter. Yes, we make mistakes. People can really irk us up and piss us off. But, you know, what is forgiveness?
mm.
What is forgiveness? How do we define forgiveness? And is forgiveness zibuza personified? The way we say love is personified. Anger is also personified. Is forgiveness personified?
It's interesting that you would ask that question. Just a couple of days ago, I was looking up the the etymology of forgiveness.
Mm,
Um, and in essence, it basically say you forego the right to justice
mm,
over an offense, right? Or over
yes.
a hurt or whatever it is. And you then forgive. You just let it go. You let it be. But as people would always say, it is easier said than done.
Then that
And
fact.
and to get to the point where you say, I will I will not seek to have justice, right? For what this person has done. I'm entitled to it. I feel entitled to it, right?
Yes.
It's mine. I They either have to ask for forgiveness, they either have to apologize and ask for forgiveness, or I just don't give it to them. But I am entitled to it. And if you have to give that up, it's the hardest thing. And especially when then the next person becomes happy that you forgave them. And at some point, you didn't even ask them if will you ever do this again, and get them to promise that they'll never do it again, or make them grovel that, I'm sorry, this was foolish, blah 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 blah, and I'll never do it again. There wasn't any of that, but you just simply decided to remove that offense out of the way and say the relationship is more important than the offense,
Mm,
right?
mm,
The relationship is more important than the offense, and therefore I'm going to focus on the relationship and let go of the offense. It's hard. It's very hard, especially when at a later stage you then come back. Maybe this person does that thing again, the very same thing, the very same mistake, the very same offense. They
mm,
do it again.
mm.
And then you think, but we've been here before.
Yeah.
And the difficult thing about forgiving is once you have said, I forgive you, right? You can never bring it up.
Yeah.
Your your heart may have the heart memory to remember that I've been here before,
Mm,
but it's very difficult to not bring that up. And it's what we have to teach ourselves to do, to say, I remember this, but I forgave this person the last time.
mm.
So the previous offense does not exist anymore. What
Yes.
exists is this one that is happening now. And I have to treat this one as if it's the first time it's happening. I cannot make reference to the one that happened in the
To the
past.
one.
Because if I start making reference to the one that happened in the past, it means I only took that one and I put it in the back of my mind, or I swept it under the carpet,
Mm,
and I'm waiting for another time that you make the same offense or a similar offense, and then I can bring that up and I can say, haha, you remember, and now your punishment is double. Or now you have to make amends for even what you did in the past, which I forgive you for. And I've learned in my life, or in my relationship with my wife also,
mm,
to exercise this most difficult thing. If there's something that she did that I did not like, or that I felt it offended me,
mm,
if I fail to address it at the moment that it happened, right? And I delay it, even if I delay it for a day, if I sleep over it, I have lost the right to victimhood in a way. I have
yeah,
lost the right to seek justification, to seek an apology. I have lost the right or the privilege to address it. And
mm,
I can never hold it against her. I can never resent her for it. I can never have any animosity or any ill emotions
yeah,
about it, or with her or towards her.
mm,
Never, because I did not address it then. So my delay then denies me, in a way, for the lack of a better phrase, it denies me the right to justice. And because I've delayed, and maybe not, the delay was not intentional. Maybe the delay was because I still wanted to find a way of saying, this is how I felt offended, and maybe this is why this thing is offending me.
mm,
But because I was so engrossed in trying to find the words for it, in trying to find the right way to put it, because sometimes what we do is, label, we, in our pain, or in our state of being hurt, or of feeling hurt, right,
mm.
or feeling offended, we immediately want to address it. And when we address it, we use the wrong words, which
True.
then get to hurt. And in the process, you've created more damage than you should have. So,
Mm-hmm.
I always want to try and find the right way of putting it. But if I take too long and I get to sleep without addressing it, I've lost all of that. So tomorrow I have to wipe the slate clean, and I have to wake up and make it the best coffee, as if we had the most passionate night. Passionate night when we never did. Or if I'm the one who did something wrong and I'm trying to make amends. But that's also the essence of how we need to think about forgiveness. That I once I've chosen to forgive, right? I can never bring it up. Even if I remember very clearly that you did not apologize, but because I chose to forgive you, I made the decision to forgive you. I made the choice to relinquish my right to justice. I can never bring it up.
And I hear you. When you touched on the topic of, or on the issue of words, words can really make or break. And it's not just the words that are being spoken, the
Mm.
tone in which they're being spoken,
Yes.
the timing as well. You know,
Yes.
um, because if you want to rectify something, yes, o tla bo o kwatile, you use a very angry tone and everything. The timing as well, that's why I appreciate my mom always, says for go and cool down when you're angry,
Yeah.
because the things that you say in the midst of that anger cause danger, and not just physical danger, emotional danger. from the
Yeah.
words that are spoken, the tone that is being used. Remember, Jorge, with words, we also operate from spaces of our childhood traumas,
Yeah.
where you don't want to frighten a person, you don't want to scare off a person, right? Because of the fact that they must be still able to trust you emotionally with the emotional capabilities. And I find, Zibuse, in a lot of relationships that we fight and then then I react, you react, and then the next fight, based on my reaction, you're going to try and avoid the situation. Why?
Yes.
Because you know the tone and you know
Mm.
timing gore mo ba tlo ntlhasela, you know,
Yeah.
ba tlo bua le nna with these harsh words, with this harsh tone. And it takes me back as well to as a child when I did something wrong, how I was spoken to, how I was, addressed, you
Mm.
know. And forgiveness is a very big I would say event, because when you choose to forgive, you're saying I'm forgiving and I'm letting go. But a lot
Yes.
of the time we don't forgive and we let go. We forgive and we hold on. Ke go beile
Mm.
bampara, what are you gonna do next? And that's why
Yeah.
I'll bring it up to the next fight and everything. You know, it's not easy, and we humans that make mistakes that learn through the process. But I think there gets to a point in time where, or in our lives, where you choose to prioritize peace. And that's why sometimes when people get into conflict with you, you're just like, peace out, my bra. Peace out, my sister. Kishabe. I'm not there for this. I'm not here for this. Kishab.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because you get tired. It's draining. It's always draining to have negative energy around you. It's draining to always feel angry or frustrated. And especially when you know Jorge, certain behaviors will not change. You know, as you were speaking, I noted two things, and maybe it might just be deviating a bit from our topic, but we
It's okay.
we as human beings, we operate from three cognitives, or well, three points: the cognitive component, the affective, and behavioral. Cognitive is knowing what I did something. I've got knowledge of what I did it. Affective is I feel and I know I'm emotional about what I did, and then that leads to my behavior,
Okay.
right? And when we behave in a certain way, we know Hore, I'm behaving like this because of my thoughts and my emotions. And we tend to take those things for granted.
We do.
We tend to take them for granted. So I think self-awareness is very, very important. And when we forgive, forgiving comes back to letting go. But letting
Yes.
go and taking that conscious decision na gore, okay, fine, I'm letting go because moto ona did this to me, but I'm not going to harbor on those negative emotions, those toxic emotions. I'm doing it for my own peace of mind, for my own well being, because the more and more I delve on it or harbor on it, the more toxic it becomes to my well being. The more
Yes.
I'm disrespecting myself by
Mm.
holding on to this, because we cannot change people's behaviors. We cannot change people's actions towards us. The only thing that we can do is control how we react and how we internalize and process everything. And that's why ke nna motho a nkwatisitse, if nkwatisitse, cool, peace out. If it means I'm going to perhaps cut you off, it's a form of self-care for me. I will forgive you, but I will not expose myself again to
Yeah.
that toxic behavior, especially where I see that there's no remorse.
Yes.
There's no remorse, and then there's a lot of projection and blame shifting and everything. Where a person cannot come back and say, "Gore, Bona, this is where I faulted. This is my contribution towards the mess up or whatever." You can miss me.
Yeah.
You can miss me, because then by me allowing that, it means I'm taking responsibility and accountability for a portion of the conflict that I did not have anything to do with. I've already taken my accountability, but why now should I take double the portion? Because
Yes.
ritumo,
Yeah. And what we also forget, ne,
Mm,
is some people think, or their understanding of forgiveness is, if I forgive you, that means I must still bring you back into my life. But I once heard that forgiveness does not create a relationship, or forgiveness does not restore the relationship. Well, especially in the context of us people. Um, it means I simply don't want to carry this, and I'm going to let it go,
mm.
you know. And and maybe just to close us off, because friends can talk, can talk, can talk, can talk.
I know.
I just want you to share your last thoughts around this specific morning thought, and maybe the conversation that we've just had, um, as a reflection point.
Okay, so as a reflection point, so the last, sorry, my daughter's in the room. I think Lena, she's my timekeeper as well, because we're
Yeah,
going
I
to have load
noticed.
shedding. Yeah, she's my timekeeper. So that last line, if it doesn't bring you peace, prosperity, and joy, then it's time to let go. Respect yourself enough to let go, in knowing what that you deserve the very best. But then there was another thing in what I'd mentioned, that um all the roads ahead of us are filled with peace and joy. I quoted that from a song that I love listening to by Sons of Blackness, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I believe. If you listen to the lyrics of
Oh,
that song,
yes.
lyrics are so powerful. They are so powerful, and they come with that essence of, I because I like integrating things. I like where something does not feel right, I'll always bring in music to it to make it
Yeah.
feel right, right? And I realized that with, excuse me, lady, keep on telling about the baby girl. Thank you, my angel. Thank you. Thank you. So what I realized is that, you know what, at the end of the day, if I keep on weighing myself down and holding back on my peace, my prosperity, and joy, and not letting go,
Mm.
those things will never manifest, right? So I need to
Yeah.
respect myself, and knowing Hore very well, all the roads are literally filled with peace and joy, but I'm the one that has the power to ignite that peace and joy, right?
Yes.
The universe can give you signs, the universe can, God can, you can pray all the prayers in the world, but if you are not ready to shed and allow newness and better for your life, you will never get to appreciate and understand where you're going, because you're holding back to your own progress and your own prosperity. So that is just one thing, and what came out of this thought, because I just felt like we need to renew our minds, we need to renew our journeys, we need to renew even our own accountability. There's a lot of self management that needs to take place, but it starts with you letting go. It starts with you being aware. It starts with you allowing growth and purpose to dominate and take over your life. If you don't, everything else can happen, but you will never be ready because you don't open yourself up to that readiness.
Hmm. That's powerful. That's
Thank
very
you.
powerful.
Thank you. And Zibuse, I don't like using the word shading, because shading always reminds me of snakes. I'm so scared of snakes. Nah, I am so scared of snakes. Only God knows. But I've gone through a process of watching a snake shed its skin, and it doesn't hold on. That process just takes place. But why do we hold on?
Yeah.
Why don't we just let go?
Yeah.
And no one says shading is going to come with just a positive. It comes with a lot of pain, it comes with a lot of things, but it's a process. If we trust that process and allow it to take place, Shem, I think we'd all be so far in life. So those were some of the thoughts around my morning thought. But what dominates for me with that morning thought is just the act of self-love and self-management, self-acceptance, self-awareness, and be willing to let go and allow newness to come into your life if you want to progress in life.
My friend, thank you for your time. The world does not know what you had to go through just to be in this conversation. And I appreciate each and every second you spent. I'm not going to say doing what, but each and every second you spent before this call. Um, Thank you. And I'm definitely going to be calling upon you sometime in the future again, and we're going to have more conversations.
Let's do it. I think we need more conversations like this. And thank you for creating the space. um Thank you for having these ideas and these morning thoughts, because we take them for granted, but sometimes you do need those simple reminders, because for me they serve as simple reminders. But thank you for the ideas, thank you for igniting, and thank you for just bringing it to life. And we need more spaces like this, we really do.
Yeah, I agree. Have a
Yeah.
lovely evening,
Thank you, same to you.
and send my regards to your timekeeper and the wonderful young lady.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Enjoy your evening further. Bye.